Hello. So I'm not an unfriendly person. I don't think it's okay whatever people believe. So a lot of people kind of just stop hanging out with me because I have no reason not to be open about how stupid religion is and how it's got all of our brains hogtied. Capitalism sucks, things like that. People with money are very, very stupid. We, the people, we Americans, have conflated money with intelligence, and Elon Musk proves that that's not the deal. You can have a fuck ton of money and be dumb as shit. Um, anyway, so speaking of dumb rich people, my whole world was full of toxic people. Now I basically just don't have a lot of personal people in my personal life. Um, but I had all the people that used to be in my life were toxic. And the reason was I attracted a certain type of toxicity because of my parents. Um, anyway, that's psychology. It's actually very simple. Um, the toxic people in my life, well, they would remind me on some back brain level of my father, who was he was a narcissist for sure. I will diagnose him. My father had a personality disorder. Um, anyway, uh, like for example, he was college educated, always had a perfect sentence, always knew exactly what to say. But then when I pressed him on racism and asked him, "Hey man, why are you so racist?" all he could do was twitch his eye at me. He kind of winked at me. And I was like, "Yeah, good talk, bro." Anywho, so one of the people I do still talk to when he'll speak to me is a very toxic friend of mine from middle school. So I've known this guy for like 37 years. And his job is inheriting money. And his wife, when she inherits her money, it's like multi-millions. Anyway, yeah. So this trust fund kid that was one of my oldest friends in the world, I called him once I left the state and I reestablished myself, quit doing drugs and stuff. Well, I called him one day and we were kind of talking and stuff. And I started just talking about how like dumb Joe Rogan was and how money makes people stupid and how, of course, get vaccinated. Don't be stupid. The only research I did about the vaccine, the COVID vaccine, was how do I get to where they're giving the vaccine out? And I took my elderly father to get his COVID vaccine because they were taking old people first. But I took an old person and I stood in line right next to him like this here. And I got my COVID vaccine as soon as I possibly could. I've been boosted. I just got the new one. The only side effect I've had is COVID vaccine makes you incredibly good looking. Anyway, so I'm talking to this dude about all that, and like you could tell, I've offended him. He's now fragile, right? He's like a fragile. He's kind of a bully, toxic person, but he's real fragile on himself. And he can dish it out, but he can't take it. So he actually brought up myocarditis. Don't know if I'm saying it right, myocarditis or whatever, the 1 in a million heart condition that Joe Rogan talked about with his vaccine, anti-vaccine bullshit. So anyway, my friend, who is a trust fund baby rich guy, doesn't even have a job. So, like the vaccine, it put me down. I missed a day of work because of getting the vaccine. So it did make me feel bad, but it was one day. And then I was vaccinated against COVID. I've tested a few times so far. I don't think I've ever gotten COVID. Anyway, so that guy my friend proceeds to tell me how he got COVID, and then while he had COVID, he had a stroke. So I kind of backed off, I didn't talk to him a whole lot for a while. But then out of the blue, I did kind of want to talk to my friend. I don't talk to anybody from my past hardly anymore because they were all a bunch of MAGA chuds and idiots, Trump supporters, just dreadful, dreadful people. So, but I would like to talk to my friend again. Anyway, so I called him up a while back. He answered, and I was kind of leading up to it. I was like, "Hey, man, you had a stroke the last time I talked to you, and I was going to ask you about how was your stroke compared to myocarditis or whatever." And he hung up on me. So I guess he's not my friend anymore, because instead of getting the vaccine, because the vaccine might cause some heart thing, instead he got COVID and then had a stroke. And I know that he knew that I was fixing to clown on his ass. I was fixing to be all up in it, like, "Oh, it's a good thing you didn't get whatever that myocarditis is, and you got a stroke. Is your lip droopy? Does it smell like burnt toast? Like, go ahead and speak. Can you speak?" Anyway, he didn't talk a lot. Like, he didn't talk enough to let me know whether he could talk properly. So it might be that his stroke was so bad he now, and got mad and hung up on me, or embarrassed or whatever, and hung up on me. I don't know. But my friend had a stroke and got COVID instead of getting the COVID vaccine, because the COVID vaccine might cause something, myocarditis. Money makes people stupid. My rich friend is stupid. And who knows, maybe I don't know, he'll probably live to be 100 years old. But last time I spoke to him, he hung up on me without speaking. So I wonder if his speech isn't affected by the fact that he had a stroke. So anyway, I'm glad COVID killed a bunch of conservatives. Anti-vaxxers dying of COVID is the most perfect thing that's ever happened in my entire life. It's absolutely perfect. I just wish one of them wasn't my dad. Yeah, he did get vaccinated, but then he stopped getting boosted, and he was hanging out with this. There was a PCA, retired PCA, that personal care assistant that would go to about 6 old clients just because she didn't have shit to do all day, every day during the pandemic. No mask, no vaccine. She was the only visitor my dad had, and my dad died of COVID pneumonia, whatever. Anyway, anti-vaxxers dying of COVID is the best thing ever. I love COVID killing conservatives. Anyway, thank you.